Om Shanti. This is the Avyakt Murli of 22nd of January 1988, and the title is The First Step of Courage is Surrender, the life story of Brahma Baba. Today, Bap Dada, the ocean of love, is pleased to see his loving children. Each and every loving soul has just the one deep desire and elevated thought that they should all become equal to the Father and become merged in love. To become merged in love means to become equal to the Father. Everyone has the determined thought in their heart that they definitely have to give a return of the love, powerful sustenance, and the limitless and imperishable treasures they have received from Bapdada. What will you give as a return? Apart from the love in your heart, what else do you have? Whatever you have has been given to you by the Father. What else will you give? To become equal to the Father is the return, and you can all do this. Bapdada has seen that nowadays the awareness of Father Brahma has especially emerged in everyone's heart to a greater extent. This awareness is not of the physical body, but the awareness of the specialties of his divine activities, because the alokik Brahman life is the life of being an embodiment of knowledge. Because of being an embodiment of knowledge, awareness of the body will not bring any waves of sorrow. In a life without knowledge, whenever people remember someone, the physical body of that person would appear in front of them, and it is a bodily relationships they experience sorrow. However, when you Brahmin children remember the Alokik Father, you receive power that you too definitely have to become equal to the Father. The awareness of the Alokik Father brings you power, that is, it gives you power. Even when some children show the love in their heart with pearls in their eyes, they are not tears of sorrow or tears of separation, but they are pearls of love. That is love of the meeting of hearts. You are not yogis who are separated, but Raj yogis, because true love from the heart brings you power for you to give the Father a fast return. To give a return means to become equal. It is with this method that you will return to your sweet home with your loving Bapdada. That is, you will go back with him. You have to give a return and also return home with the Father. This is why your love and remembrance makes you detached from the world and loving to the Father. Bapdada was seeing the children's thought of becoming powerful and their enthusiasm to become equal. He was seeing the specialties of Father Brahma. If you were to speak about Brahma Baba's specialties, how many would there be? There was specialty at every step, even in his thoughts. At every moment, he had the zeal and enthusiasm to make everyone special. In a practical way, you saw in him the specialty of constantly putting zeal and enthusiasm into every soul through his attitude. Through his words, he gave courage. He brought hope of those who felt hopeless. He made weak souls fly with the flying stage. He made everyone worthy of service. His every word was invaluable, sweet, and yukti-yukt. In the same way, he was the children's companion in every action and made them karma yogis. He wasn't just an observer who watched with detachment, but in order to give children the experience of the importance of physical work, he was a companion in action. Whatever actions I perform, children who see me will automatically do the same. He constantly taught this lesson through his actions. In relationships and connection with little children, he became like the little children and made them happy. With retired elderly people, he was experienced and constantly gave them zeal and enthusiasm. With little children, he was like a child with the youth. He was like a youth, and with the elderly, he was an elderly person and constantly made each one move forward. With his relationships and connections, he always gave the experience of belonging. Little children would also say, Baba doesn't love anyone else as much as he loves me. He gave each one so much love that each one felt, Baba is mine. This is the specialty of relationship and connection. In looking at others, he saw the specialty and virtue of every soul. In his thoughts, even while always knowing someone to be the last number bead, he always had pure and positive thoughts for such a soul that even such a soul constantly moves forward. All the children experienced such specialties. To become equal in all these things means to follow the Father. It is difficult to follow in this way. This is called love. This is called giving the return. Bap Dada was seeing how much return each child has given. Everyone has the aim, but the number one lies in their practical life. Everyone wants to be number one. No one would prefer to be the number two or three. This is also a good and powerful aim, but to make your qualifications according to your aim is to become equal. For this, what was the first step of courage that Father Brahma took, through which he experienced being multi-million times fortunate from the beginning? The first step of courage was to surrender everything. He surrendered everything. He didn't think about what would happen or how it would happen. In a second, according to the Father's elevated directions, when the Father gave a signal, it was the Father's signal and Brahma's action or step. This is called the first step of courage. He even surrendered his body. He constantly made his mind successful with the method of Manmanabhav. This was how his mind, that is, every thought, was successful. That is, he became an embodiment of success. Without any worry for the future, he surrendered all his wealth because he had the faith that this giving was not giving, but was to receive multi-million-fold. In the same way, he also surrendered his relationships. That is, he transformed the Lokic relationships into a Lokic. He didn't leave anything, but he brought benefit and transformed everything. He surrendered the intellect that had the consciousness of I and the intellect of ego. This is how he became constantly pure, cool, and a bestower of happiness with his body, mind, and intellect. No matter what situations came up with his Lokic family, or even from souls not known to him in the world. Neither in his thoughts nor his dreams did he have any upheaval of doubt, even in a subtle form, not even the slightest thought. Father Brahma's special wonder was that where all you had the example of Father Brahma in the corporeal form in front of all of you. Brahma himself did not have any physical example in front of him. Unshakable faith and the Father's Srimad were his support. For all of you, it is very easy, and the later you came, the easier it is for you, because you have the example of the elevated life of transformation of many souls. It is clear for you. You have to do this and become this. This is why there is no margin for you people to question why or what. You can see everything. However, there was a margin for these questions to arise for Brahma Baba. What do you have to do? What is going to happen in the future? Am I doing it right or am I wrong? It was possible for these thoughts to arise, but he made the possible impossible. With one strength and one support, he had faith in the intellect and became the number one victorious soul. Because of this surrender, his intellect was always light. He didn't have any burden on his intellect. His mind was carefree. On his face, you always saw the clear signs of a carefree emperor. 350 children, and there wasn't even flour to feed the children, and they had to be fed on time. Just think, could anyone remain carefree in such a situation? The bell had to be rung at 1 p.m., and up to 11 a.m. there was no flour. Who could remain carefree? Even under such circumstances, he remained cheerful and unshakable. This is the Father's responsibility, not mine. I belong to the Father, and the children also belong to the Father. I am just an instrument. Who can have such faith and remain carefree? A soul who is surrendered with his mind and intellect. He did not use his intellect thinking, I don't know what is going to happen. Will everyone starve? Will this happen or that happen? Although having a margin for such waste thoughts and doubts, he always had powerful thoughts. The Father is always the protector and the benefactor. This is the specialty of surrender. So, just as Father Brahma surrendered and took the first step of courage, follow the Father in the same way. Faith definitely brings victory. The flower came on time. The bell was rung and they passed. This is known as not having questions, not taking the crooked path, but always putting the full stop of benefit. Full stop. This method, it will be easy and you will attain success. So, this was the wonder of Father Brahma. Today, you were told about the one first step. Become free from the burden of worry. This is known as giving the return of love. Acha, to those who constantly follow the Father at every step, to those who give the return of love at every step, to those who always have faith in the intellect and as carefree emperors always remain free from worry, to those who become equal to the Father in their thoughts, words, deeds, and relationships, to those who constantly have pure and positive thoughts, to those who always see the specialty of each one, to those who constantly make every soul move forward, to the children who are equal to the Father in this way, heart-filled love, remembrance from the loving Father. Bapdada meeting groups. Do you consider yourselves to be the highest and high Brahmin souls who belong to the highest and high Father? Brahmins are remembered as the highest of all. The sign of the highest is always shown as the top knot of Brahmins. People of the world have shown the top knot as the symbol of those worldly Brahmins. So, you are not those who have a top knot, but those who remain in the stage of the top knot. They have shown the physical symbol, but it is, in fact, a matter of staying in high stage. Brahmins are said to be the most elevated. The most elevated means the most elevated of human beings. Purushottam, more elevated than ordinary human souls. You are such elevated beings, are you not? The soul is said to be Purush. Those who are to become elevated souls means to become the most elevated human beings of all human beings. Deities are also called the most elevated because they are deity souls. You are Brahmins, even higher than deity souls. Always have this intoxication. For the other intoxication, it would be said, reduce it. But for spiritual intoxication, the Father says, continue to increase it, because this intoxication does not cause damage. All other forms of intoxication cause damage. This will make you climb high, and the other would make you fall. If spiritual intoxication comes down, you remember the old world. If the intoxication rises, there will be the awareness of the new world. This Brahman world is also a new world. This world is even more elevated than the golden age. So, constantly continue to move forward with this awareness. Do you always experience yourselves to be the elevated creation of the Father, the world creator? Brahman life means the elevated creation of the world creator. Do you have the intoxication that each one of you is the direct creation of the Father? People of the world unknowingly say that they have been created by God. Previously, all of you also used to say this unknowingly, but you now know that you are the Kumars and Kumaris who belong to the clan of Shiva. So, you now say, on the basis of knowledge and understanding, that the God has created you and that you are the mouth-born creation. The Father has created the creation directly through Brahma. So, you are the creation of Bap Dada, or the mother and father. You can now say from experience that you are the direct creation of God. So, God's creation would be so elevated. As the Creator, so would be his creation, would it not? Do you always have this intoxication and happiness? You do not consider yourselves to be ordinary, do you? When this secret enters your intellect, you can constantly and automatically have this spiritual intoxication and happiness on your face and in your activities. Seeing your face, others experience you truly to be the creation of the elevated Creator. For instance, one would be able to tell from the behavior of a princess, the daughter of a king, that she is from a royal family. You can tell when someone is from a wealthy family or an ordinary family. In the same way, from your behavior and your face, people should experience you to be the elevated creation, children of the highest Father. To the Kumaris, why is there the praise that Kumaris are more elevated than 100 Brahmins? Because to the extent that you yourself are elevated, accordingly, you will be able to make others elevated. So, do you have the happiness that you are elevated souls? So Kumaris become servers and continue to move forward in service, because this confluence age is a small age, and each one of you can achieve whatever you want as much as you want. So you are those who have an elevated aim and elevated qualifications, are you not? When you have an elevated aim and elevated qualifications, the attainment you experience will also always be elevated. So, do you constantly experience the fruit of happiness and power in this godly life? People in the world spend money for their happiness, but in spite of that, they don't attain it. Even if they do have some happiness, it is temporary, for together with that happiness, there is also sorrow. However, the life of all of you has become one of constant happiness. People of the world are desperate for happiness, whereas you are receiving happiness as your instant visible fruit. Happiness is the specialty of your life. If there is no happiness, there is no life. So, you are constantly making progress and moving forward, are you not? Bap Dada is happy that the Kumaris have been saved at the right time. Otherwise, you would have climbed the wrong ladder and then would have had to climb down. To go up and come down takes effort. Look, even householders are still called Brahmakumars and Brahmakumaris. They are not called Brahma Adhar Kumars. They still become Kumars and Kumaris. So they come down the ladder, whereas you don't have to come down. You are very fortunate. You have found the Father at the right time. Only Kumaris are worshipped. When a Kumari becomes a householder, she has to become a lamb and has to bow down in front of everyone. So, you have been saved, have you not? Therefore, always consider yourself to be very fortunate and continue to move forward. Acha, mothers, all of you are powerful mothers, are you not? You are not weak, are you? What does Bap Dada want from the mothers? For each one of you mothers to become a world mother and benefit the world. However, Mothers work very cleverly. When any Lokik work has to be done, they make someone or other an instrument to do that, and they themselves go out. However, when it is a godly task, they say, I have children, so who is going to look after them? Bapdada says to the Pandavas, you have to look after them because you are the creators. So, the Pandavas should free the Shaktis. According to the drama, at the present time, it is the mothers who have been given a chance. Therefore, the mothers have to be kept in the front. You now have to do a lot of service. The whole world has to be transformed. So, how will you complete the service? The fast speed is needed, is it not? So Pandavas free the Shaktis so that centers can open and the sound can spread. Acha, blessing, may you uplift everyone and create the most elevated picture, the same as Father Brahma has done. All the children who have created their picture of fortune through elevated awareness and elevated actions. Now, the final touching is needed for perfection and for becoming the most elevated of all, like Father Brahma. For this, become one who uplifts everyone. That is, always remain free from selfish motives. In every situation and in every task, in every cooperative gathering, the more selflessness there is, the more you will be able to uplift others. You will always experience yourself to be full. You will always remain stable as an embodiment of attainment. You will not accept anything for yourself. Slogan: only by being a complete renunciate will you develop the virtues of having an easy nature and being tolerant. Om Shanti.